This is one of the most craziest true crime cases I've ever heard about. On June 5th, 2002, a man broke in and took 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart while she was sleeping in bed. The crime took place in front of her 9-year-old sister, Mary Catherine, who pretended to be asleep in the same room. Her sister was able to listen to the male talking to her sister, stating that she recognised the voice but she didn't know who he was. In the days following, her parents, Ed and Lois Smart, did several TV appeals and interviews in attempts to find their daughter, but typically the media tore apart the parents, thinking that Ed was acting suspicious and maybe someone in the family was involved. The family lived in a big house in a nice neighbourhood in Salt Lake City, and eventually the investigation turned to look at people who had recently done work on their house. One of these suspects included Richard Reese. Richard had done some handiwork in the home for the Smart family, and he'd been in some sort of dispute with Ed over wages, and he also had a violent criminal history. Police also found that on the night she was taken, he had done a significant amount of mileage in his Jeep, but he wouldn't say where he had been. They were so sure that they'd found their suspect, but the sister stated that he wasn't the guy who took Elizabeth, and the police disputed this. However, shortly after he had been arrested for other offences, he died in jail from a brain hemorrhage. But what everyone didn't know is that Elizabeth was still alive and was being kept very close to home in Salt Lake City in the mountains. One day whilst reading the Guinness Book of Records, Mary Catherine suddenly remembered who she had seen that night, a male named Emmanuel who had also worked for a day at the family home. Emmanuel, whose real name was Brian David Mitchell, had been keeping her in a tent in the mountains with his wife Wanda, where they did awful things to her and used religion to control her and order her around. What's crazy is that all three of them travelled to places around Salt Lake City, including them attending a party where he made them wear a headscarf and robes to go unnoticed. At one point, when they went to a library, an officer actually confronted the trio and asked to see the identity of the girl to confirm it wasn't Elizabeth, which he refused for religious reasons. After leaving the city and then returning, they were eventually found by members of the public who reported seeing Elizabeth, and he was arrested along with his wife while she was returned home to her family. Elizabeth and her family talk about this experience in the new Netflix documentary that you need to go and watch. Comment your thoughts below and let me know what you think about the case and the documentary, because it's all so crazy.